Welcome to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. Jimmy is a veteran U.S. Navy SEAL, a former protective officer for the CIA Global Response Staff, founder and CEO of the Able Shepherd Program, a husband and father of four, and a personal friend of mine. Now here's Jimmy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. I'm your host, Jimmy Graham. This is BK. Able Shepherd 051.
051.
Able Shepherd 001. Man, it's been quite a ride, brother. We were just talking. We sat here and talked for about 2 hours or whatever, maybe not that long. But yeah, maybe that long actually. It has been a heck of a ride. There's some amazing opportunities come up that we'll talk about in the future, not tonight. And talking about standards, it's easy to set a standard. It's hard to defend one. Like all of these things. So this is cool. This is cool to me because the guys that have been to the men's mission, the What is a Man men's mission, would know what I've historically called flashcards. And these things that we talk about, like when I would say something like, don't lie, cheat, or steal. The response is, or litter, right? The not in charge of them, in charge of me, like all of this stuff. And the other day, I for whatever reason, I go into like ChatGPT and I go, what would you call these sayings? Like I'm saying, I forget how I asked it, but there's these sayings, and I put like, a bird in the hand is one of the, all that kind of stuff. These sayings that just kind of come up that kind of a simple thing to help you through life. It says, is there a name for those? He says, and it's like, yes, the name for those are Proverbs.
Really?
And I'm like, it was just cool. It's like, obviously Proverbs, prophetically, God gave these things to people in the past to have some kind of divine message, and these things that are helping us and helping men and all of this stuff that we just had de-escalation. I just had a de-escalation class tonight. That's the way my mind works.
Yeah.
But I would have never called them that.
Yeah. That's the first time I've heard it.
Yeah. I was like, that's cool, man. Yeah. So we might not be calling them flashcards anymore.
Or Graham family sayings.
Right? It's just, these are Proverbs. And that's just, it's awesome. So, all right. So a lot going on right now. A lot of good stuff. Plenty of bad stuff. And, man, I just kind of want to unpack it. So I was at the Capitol yesterday, and I was there for most of the day. Then I came in and taught a class. Then I changed out again and went right back, right? So we're south of Denver. I live further south yet, but it was later. I knew they were going to go late into the night, and I had not been called to testify yet. And nobody called me. Usually if they call and nobody's there, I would get a text saying, hey, they called your name, where are you? All that kind of stuff. And they didn't, so I was hoping to get called to testify. So I go up there, and at the Capitol, it's just, I posted something saying it's a freaking clown show. Like it's just crazy. Not only was it it was interesting to watch because it's strange to see and in a free country, I still get to say this, it is odd. It's strange for me to see a 6 foot plus man with his legs shaved with Daisy Dukes, with a scrunchie like my daughter would wear, makeup on, and a dog collar. Right. Yeah. The Capitol, just wouldn't expect it, right? I was a little disappointed in the I think they call them, is it sheriffs? It's the sergeants. The dudes walk around the jackets, they keep order in the Capitol and tell you where to go and what to do. And you stand in line in a civilized society. I believe that there's just, I've talked about this before, the fact that you can have a line speaks volumes about our nation. The fact that there's a line and you stay, like in traffic, you would stay there until the light turns green, and then you would go. When it turns yellow and then red, and you would stop. That just implies a little bit of decency. And you realize that when you go to another country and they don't. It's like, I'm just going.
Free for all.
Right?
Yeah.
And not only, if I can't go on the road, I'm going to go in the ditch. So now there's no grass because so many people are just, it's all about me. So I don't care about order. And they're upset because the other side's going. But they're doing the same thing. So it's just it's just a mess. It's chaos. So I kind of appreciate the fact and make sure that I kind of hold fast to that with my kids. It's like, hey, you're in line. You're not going to cut in front of that person. I don't care if it's one person, right? So, and like, hey, how you doing? I was like, hey, I'll say hi to you, but I'm going to go to the back of the line. I'm not going to pretend like we're buddies and then do all that stuff. Oh, yeah, well, why don't you just wait here with your family and make that family wait longer? It's just kind of a big deal to me. So we're standing in line for a long, long time But if you are literally like 6'2" and you're a man, but you're dressed like a nun, and you made up a nun name, you can walk and cut in front of the entire line, and just kind of look and just walk in, and they're going to pretend they don't see you, and that's unfortunate. Like as a nation, like as a in that position that should have some. It just costs credibility for these people that I would have respected otherwise. Meaning the sergeants, right? It's like, did that just happen? And I just saw it, which means you can damage your own credibility, and you just did. And I saw you, right? Not good.
No.
Then, as far as the taxpayer dollars going for this system is when you go online and you register and you say, are you in person? Are you not in person? Are you going to do it online or whatever? It got to be there were so many people, and I get that. You might not get through everybody. But the way they handled it was like, we don't even know who's supposed to be here, so I'm just going to start calling people. And that caused people to get mad. And I wasn't mad. I'm just sitting back there like, this is unfortunate. Because I'm watching the way this is handled, and it's just childish. Yeah. And this is the state capitol. And now people are screaming, I've been here since 10, and they're not wrong, right? You would just expect some kind of order because, well, we're paying for this. Yeah. And it's not a little, it's a lot. And why even have the thing on there if you're just going to randomly go, you 5 and you 3, and who else is? And they said, we've exhausted our list of the names we have, and there's hundreds that haven't spoken. And they start screaming. They're like, no, we have a list, but I see all these names, and I can't tell who's talked already, and I can't tell who's at home online. I'm like, why can't you? Yeah. Is this the first one I remember in the military, is this the first time anybody's ever done a mission ever? Like, what's happening right now? It's like, the Navy, it's like they've got these manuals, they've got all this other stuff, they're very, very good at what they do, but now all of a sudden we're doing something, it's like the first time it's ever been done. I'm like, man, we need to start the nation yesterday.
Don't you guys do this every time?
Oh, it's just unfortunate,
all
right?
Day? Oh.
So unfortunately, this bill passed, and it is going to make it, illegal. It just blows my mind. So I do want to touch on that about what was just done. And I'm not going to go too deep because I haven't had the time today. I was like at 11:30. I got home at like 12:30. Went to bed. Was blessed to wake up and do chapel, and then I launched right into my workday. So I know that they took some things out, and I'm not clear on which parts they took out. I've heard it and I looked at it, but I haven't processed it yet. So I'm not going to go too deep into that. You can look it up and listen to smarter people than me talk about it. But I do want to touch on what I saw. So, man, I don't even want to call them. Let's say the people that were for the bill. So the fours and then the opposed. The fours, they're wounded. It's very apparent. And people are like, I can't believe, this doesn't make any sense. It's like, the eyes of the wicked will be blinded. And I truly mean that. It's like, it's wicked, they're being played. They are tormented. There's usually a lot of pain going on here. And they're making claims like, well, if you're autistic, then you're most likely, you're pretty much, they're like claiming autism as you're trans. And I'm like, there's no truth in that at all. They're just grabbing it and saying, if you're uncomfortable in your skin and you don't process things, what it means is if there's anything where you're processing differently, they see an opportunity to come and grab you for their side. And now you got purple hair and a dog collar, and you're like just overweight men wearing dresses and feeling beautiful. And the problem is, it's just not. You know what I mean? So and they're using words like safety and love obviously means sex to them. And it's like, what are you talking about? You can love whoever you want. No, it means that we should be able to, okay, and I'm going to fund it? Like, it's just a weird thing when it's not sustainable. But what I saw in that was this. They were more unified, meaning that they cared about each other. There was a camaraderie that I don't see in most churches. There was this kind of celebration when they got a little dig in. And not that I would celebrate when you get a dig in, but when somebody came on, he was a smart aleck, and he was like, I'm so-and-so, and it was a weird thing to be seen at the Capitol, but they were kind of encouraging. And you could tell that there's one room, not only this is a little weird, it's almost like, why are you staring at me? Well, the reason I'm staring at you is because I'm trying to process, light blue and light pink crew cut hair with the stuff in your face, and that you're a man but you have breasts. So that just takes a minute, right? And I know you dig it and love it, so you're kind of like digging it, but somehow you're a warrior. And there's only one place you could be a warrior, and it's here in a warrior you're created. It's very much a liberal, make a crisis then be the solution. And that's what they're living, but it's almost an action adventure where they're a hero.
Well, and what concerns me when I hear this is the word vulnerability keeps popping up in my head, because the children they are going after are vulnerable.
Yes.
They are exposed. They are growing up, finding their way, developing. We've all gone through awkward phases in our life.
Yeah.
And they are preying on
Absolutely.
children who are exposed and vulnerable.
Yeah. Under the guise of protection and love. And I heard so many times about happiness and feelings. Like it's about feelings and happiness, not about any kind of truth or sustainable future. So it doesn't matter if it's sustainable, that's what I feel.
Yeah.
And they're testifying like, this kid was so happy and so happy. I was like, well, there's going to be when the truth shows up, the happiness is over. And now it's like, what have I done? You know, and this is coming. There's going to be a lot of confused young people that aren't young anymore. They grow up and now they can't have kids ever because of decisions they made. This is actually mutilating. Like talking about transgender and dead naming. Like if you called your son the name you gave him, you can now go to jail. Like it will go to fines and then jail and all this other things. So now there's been, and not that they've crossed the line, because once they cross it, they'll find out there's really a line. Not things written on paper, there's a line.
Yeah.
Right? So defending your children is a God-given right, which means man can't take it away. By the way, it's also a duty. By the way, it's an honor.
Yeah.
Right? So all of that is goodness, and it's given by God. So that's the line that they drew in the sand that means nothing is that now you can't do this. No, I didn't ask.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the part they're going to see. And I loved seeing churches boldly say, we will not comply with this. So you can write it down, this will not be, because now all of a sudden you're talking about man's law and God's law, and yours is beneath it. Yeah. Right? So that's going to be very interesting how that plays out. And you can try, by the way, and you can put people in jail. And when church is persecuted, it actually gets stronger. Right? So that's kind of what it takes. And that's unfortunate to say and unfortunate to hear because nobody likes that, but it's kind of the way it works. Yeah. So I believe that is coming. And I think, yes, we win in the end, and yes, God sees this. There's another part that was going through my head, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I love it, is that there's a whole other thing. Like adults showed up at the White House. There's a new administration, and I'm waiting to see where that plays out. You know, it's like I know that it's one thing to say, well, you know what, Colorado's gone flat crazy, let them. Or is it there's good people in Colorado and we're coming.
We're coming out.
And just even to fathom that I would ever want federal government involvement ever in our affairs, it just turned on its ear. Yeah. And I'm praying that the federal government and I wish I would have got to testify. I just would have loved to turn around and just said Donald J. Trump and watch everybody about to have a coronary. You know, because they act very strong, but it is an act. Right? You don't know. I remember Jordan Peterson saying this. If you're afraid of strong men, wait till you see what weak ones can do. Yeah. And you're about to find out. Like you're going to see what the absolute carnage and horror that weak people can do when they feel strong, when they act strong. Right? And it's going to take strong people. So I'll finish with this. I'll repeat this, but I want to say it right now. The world's getting worse. It's your duty to get better. Yeah, it's your duty. It's not an option. Yeah. Right? So it's so skewed right now that if they want to head that way, they can. And there was so much about one of my talking points, because they harped on this. They love it and they think it's kind of a punchline that's indefendable, that's not defendable. Well, do you want a trans kid or a dead kid? Like boldly look them in the eye and say neither. Yeah. I want neither. I want a healthy kid. I want grandkids. I want sustainable. That's what I want. That's the thing that's proven. So it just doesn't work. You're trying to create these two. These are the only two options. Says who? Like says confused guy, right?
Well, I can't help but wonder, like you've got your Bible sitting over there. God has a plan. He's put it in a book. He has laid out. This is how it shall be. Where are they coming from? Where are they getting their truth? What are they making up? And where is it coming from?
Yeah.
Well, it didn't come from God.
Yeah.
And it's evil in spirit, and it's not creating anything. It is destroying a family. It is destroying children. There's only one person who destroys.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and that's that. Wow. If you want to feel powerful for now, and it really is, it's that delayed gratification of will you sacrifice your long term for your short term? And their answer just overwhelmingly is yes, if it feels good, right? Yeah. So it's a horrible thing to say, like, I will sacrifice my children's future for my right now. And you're seeing it on both sides, actually. And that is absolutely devastating, and there's no future in it, right? So the future is our kids, so healthy children, that is the future. But, back to this is that the camaraderie I saw where they were interacting, they just got nothing. And now they've got, at least they get attention because they sewed on breasts and they got fake, whatever, all this other stuff in there in a dress, and it gets attention. And before you were like, the world didn't see you. And instead of somebody strong coming up and saying, there's truths, and I'm going to touch on that in a minute. There's a truth about you, and I love you enough to pour that into you. They didn't get that, right? So they'll take whatever. They'll take as long as you see me, because I'm invisible. Like, there's no way some of these people that I know by name, there's no way that they could be a hero to anything in their mind other than this. Like, they're not going to go fight a war. They're not going to go do. And at some point, one of them was a Marine vet, actually, and there's honor in that. But now he lords it around as he has become a predator. So when I talk about, there's protectors, there's predators, and then there's pretenders. Like, if you are pretending to be a strong woman, you and I will never be strong women, ever. You'll never be a beautiful woman, ever. You can think it's like a Mr. Potato Head and put the other pieces on. That's not the thing, right? And even that just embarrassment that was Bud Lights, just kicking their own teeth. That was awesome, by the way. It just reminded, like, what are you thinking? And read the room. But anyways, that person, at a glance, you might think that's an attractive woman until you hit it with a hose, and then the truth comes out. And you're like, oh, this was smoke and mirrors. It's actually ugly again. You know what I mean? So it's pretending to be beautiful. Like, you can't steal a woman's beauty. You can try, right? But that disgusts me that women and children aren't something worth fighting for. So, anyways.
Well, and in that, the word that comes to my mind is deception. Once again, where does that come from?
Absolutely.
Where does that originate from? Straight up deception.
Yeah.
Lies and deception.
There was so much pain, but there were little celebrations. I mean, not even self-control. It's like, and all these like little side comments and cheering and all this other stuff. But it's not like, and I didn't even want like a repercussion. There was no like, because their future is going to be their own punishment.
Yeah. And
it's actually sad. So I was actually found myself feeling for them. And then I also saw within the church, like within the Christian church, a guy was sitting, he was sitting across the way, and he had said something. There was a pastor, and he testified, and he read from Revelation, was saying some pretty strong stuff, but it was the truth. And he actually said, in a room of all this opposition, if anybody wants a church that's more compassionate, then come see me. And I go, nice sales pitch. And he kind of like, ha, ha, ha. And he goes, no, I meant a more compassionate church. I go, you mean a more liberal church? No, compassionate, like loving Christ. I'm like, but not having the balls to say the truth. Was the truth too much? And this is like, we're not even supposed to be really talking. Yeah. It's overflow and all that stuff. And then he comes over and starts just sitting down. Hey, I just didn't want to be, and I just flat out, it was a good conversation, and we ended up, I respect the guy, I don't respect the move he just made, right? He did it from a good place, but he was trying to be the I just believe in this room, like from the pulpit I would say Revelation, but in this room I go, you think they need a Christian back rub at this moment? Like while they're mutilating my children? I think we're past that. Yeah. And then we got into that conversation about what good is the men's ministry if the women could do it. If women could lead it, then what are the men needed for? So the men are to lead and to stand and to start boldly speaking the truth, not your Mother Teresa version of Jesus, right? So at some point, bold truth has to come back, and it should be direct. Yeah. And if the Word of God is too direct for them, then that shouldn't mean you change the truth. Like, if you don't like the truth, then change you, because the truth doesn't change. That's just the deal. So it was just we ended up talking, and I appreciate what he said later, because he did get up. He did get the chance to speak, and it was right before the end, and he before they closed it out, and he got up there, and that's the one that was talking about the Christians are ready to be burned at the stake again. Yeah. And it's like, sometimes it has to get so bad that people find their feet, and I don't think we're anywhere near that. But it's starting. Yeah. But it's by no means the majority. Now, we were overwhelmingly had a majority on the people that were opposed, but it's still passed. And there's going to be repercussions. All right. So I'm sitting there thinking about when I speak, and this isn't verbatim notes, but I'm just going to touch on the areas. They talked about experts. Let the experts speak first. and then I didn't know that when I registered because it wasn't on there, but they said, oh, you can register as a... So I was like, hey, I'm an expert. I'm an expert on protection.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I was an expert on protection and active shooter and all that stuff until I saw the people claiming to be experts and they didn't know anything. And I'm like, well, I know more than them, so I guess I'm an expert, right? Yeah. So then I kind of embraced that and started talking about it, and I should have put that on there. But then that begs the question, what is protection? And then we say self-defense and then stand to somebody else, right? And we talk about the physical, mental, and spiritual, and this is exactly played into what was going on there, is that there is spiritual and mental attacks going on in a big, big way. And if they can see, meaning the forces of evil can see something that's not quite, it's an opportunity. And that autism has become an opportunity to where they can go, oh, you know how you don't process things like that? It's because you're not comfortable in your body. It's because you're actually trans. And it's like, oh, I am? And if you can entertain that, it means that somebody didn't know the truth well enough to know they're being lied to. And that's a huge, huge deal, right? So that typically physically, when you say to get to them, you got to go through me, and it's winner take all. But now that was just a perfect example of what we say about being spiritual and mental.
Yeah.
And the last night was absolutely spiritual and mental warfare going on. And they're like, and we won. It's like scoreboard. Like, look, there's this thing, scoreboard. It means they're winning for now. Yeah. But that's without knowing how this ends. So we are going to win. And I said, this is going to happen. There's a book about it. You should read it. It's about all this. It's called the Bible. Right? This is going to get worse, but what am I going to be doing while it gets worse? Yeah. It's kind of like we already know we win. So the only way you lose is to play dirty to get there. Mm-hmm. You're like, wait a minute, you don't bluff when you've got good cards. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know the end of the story here. You know that we win, but you let all that emotion suck you into playing dirty, and that's not glorifying, right? No. So that was the kind of stuff that was going through my head last night as I'm watching this and trying to kind of wrap my head around it, and process that I'm not mad at you, you know. And it was just, and it was. I think one was an overflow surrounded on every single side, and I'm seeing people that are tormented, and they believe this stuff. They believe it. They believe they're helping. They believe they're protecting. They believe all this stuff. It's not heading in a good direction. And it won't head in a good direction, right? Because there's no foundation. So you're going to build and build and build, and the foundation's going to give, and it'll come crashing down, right? And then it won't be a fun party. There won't be good feelings and all that stuff, because accountability just showed up.
Yeah, I wish I could find the words to describe what I'm feeling, because it's not building, it's not protecting, it's not based on truth. It is lies and deceptions and selfishness, and it's sin. They are choosing to harm children. And it's a slow drip. If the devil sees the slightest little crack in the door, he's coming in. You better be ready. And these children can't defend themselves. They're being preyed upon and then developed, more than likely, to be just sex toys.
Yes.
Adolescent, possibly, sex toys.
Yeah.
To just be...
In the children thing, I don't know if you saw about that sex ed camp. I heard it got shut down. I hope it did get shut down, but there was a video that I saw that was released that was literally saying that drop your kids off at sex ed camp. And the stuff they were doing with condoms and dental dams and having tools, and at the end they would show their skills, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And to pretend that this is like, well, you guys are just hate mongering, you're Christians, and no doubt many of them were wounded by Christians that were doing Christianity wrong, right? It's like they were doing it wrong. That wasn't a problem with Christianity. It's somebody who used that to harm you, and that's unfortunate, right? So the church never hurt. Maybe a dude hurt you, but Christianity, the church, never hurt you. Some knucklehead, maybe he did, but that's not what it's supposed to look like. So that was just a very unfortunate thing. But if you want to pretend this is healthy and that you're there and that this is where we're heading, why are you hissing at me? Like, that's just a weird thing to be hissed at. Yeah. You know, it's just, you look at these movies and you're like, okay, that's a little much. People don't hiss at people. But then when you've seen it, you're like, oh my goodness, like what's happening right now? And they can't even see it. They're infuriated, and they're hissing. And I heard some cussing over it. Like I don't know, I just felt this, I don't know, it's a presence, but And I look over and somebody who knows me well, and they hate me. I don't hate them, but they hate me. And I look over and I see him come out with his, I don't even know, friend, significant other, something, I don't even know. And I look over and just very flamboyant and all this stuff and pierced nose, and just every time I see this person, they just curse me. They just curse, and the women around them hiss, like literally, like it's just a weird thing. But it's not comical. It's actually horrible. Yeah. But it just doesn't really have a lot of effect, you know. And I heard that, and he said my name. It's like, oh, Jimmy Graham, effing rah rah. And I just look over, and they just bolt. They just take off. And I was gonna pull up my phone and whatever. I was gonna start recording because it usually is kind of a show. And last time I was like, I should probably record this for my own protection kind of thing too, because we're inside the courthouse and whichever way it goes. If you want to make it illegal to protect my kid, it begs the question: what are you planning to do to them?
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna make good people, you want to make it illegal for parents to protect their kid, which is their, like it's a God-given right, and duty and honor, all of that. But to make that illegal, it really does beg the question, what are you planning to do to them? And I don't think we don't want to hear that answer, because we're already seeing it, and it's on the rise, right? So this minor attracted individual, have you heard this?
No.
That's a new term. So I'm not a pedophile, I'm just a minor, I think, is it minor? Yeah, minor attracted individual. Like we're gonna make new terms to make it like, that's just the way I was born. Like I don't think you understand that I was made this way. Like God made me a way where I desire to have sex with your child. I'm like, brother, you don't say that too close to me, right? That's just, it's there are lines in the sand.
No, I desire to sin. Wait, no, stop
yeah,
sin.
That's the way I was made. It's like, okay, this is gibberish and you're making it up as you go. And there is actually a truth. And when that truth shows up, you're gonna see it. Like when Jesus comes back, it ain't as a baby.
Yeah.
And that's just gonna happen. And people are gonna like, well, I don't like that. Okay, well, you'll find out how much that matters.
You're really not gonna like what happens.
Right. So that's what I was going to, impress on some people's hearts, is that just to think about that, to step back and see what's really going on. And when you hear we don't battle against flesh and blood, I think the actual better translation is we don't battle merely with flesh and blood, but with powers and principalities, right? So, and I've said this before, like in a shooting situation, in a school or something, you're not aiming at a principality. This manifests in human beings, right? So it's not like we don't fight flesh and blood. Yes, you do. You do actually. Like you don't tell a guy who just, a cop that just shot a dude that you don't battle flesh and blood. He's like, I just did. Literally, the dude stabbed me and I shot him, and it's better, right? So it's like that's just a true thing. But to be able to see that, another thing that, talking about shepherds and wolves and all that kind of stuff, and I wrote down it would be so much easier. It's a little bit sarcastic. It'd be so much easier for the wolves if they could just get the shepherds out of the way. If I could just get rid of these stinking shepherds that are teaching and leading and protecting these children, they'd be way easier to decimate. And it's like that's just what's going on right now. And I can't believe that even with the wind has changed federally, and now, like I said, adults have showed up and said, okay, enough of this. Spring break's over, right? So now take the lampshade off your head, put your pants back on. Like they're heading this other.
Something's really getting my cackles up, because you take away the shepherd. Tell me I'm wrong. The sheep only hear the shepherd's voice.
That's right.
You take away the shepherd.
Susceptible to anything.
Whew.
Right. Right.
Oh.
And we've made that parallel too. It's like this. That's why I don't like the sheepdog thing. It's you do whatever you want, but it just never really spoke to me, because one, it's not in the Bible. You can search all day long and you're not going to find it. Right. That's more of a us and them. Like you're not a sheep. Like we're all sheep, but the ones that stand up and say, "Don't touch her," just became a shepherd. Right? We're called to be shepherds until the great shepherd appears, right, and returns. That is it's an honor, but it's not an us and them. You're one of them, but you're just one of them that had the courage to stand and say, to get to them, you got to go through me, and it's winner take all. Now a shepherd just became a shepherd, right? And we are called to be that. Each one of us is called to be. Well, actually, not each one of us. Some people are called to be that, right? And other people. And it can look differently. Like I've said this, that little old lady that says, watch your language, there's a lady sitting here. Amen, protector. She's teaching and leading and protecting that young lady spiritually and mentally. Maybe not physically anymore, because there are limitations on the other side of that. It's like I'm on the way down. At 51, I'm not getting stronger every day. I wish I was physically, But spiritually and mentally, you bet.
Yeah.
Like absolutely, right? When I look at Christian Graham and pass that torch and honor him and say, one of these days you're going to protect this family because your powers are coming in. He's like, what? Even you? Even me.
Even me.
You're heading out, buddy. I'm heading out, and someday you will be protecting this family. And he just sits a little taller, the chest comes out. I love it. I love it. I love it. The sitting at the Capitol, and I know some of the officers that are protecting the Capitol through the State Patrol.
State Patrol, yeah.
There's a SORT team there. There's all this stuff going on behind the scenes you don't see, just in case things happen, right? And I think on those levels, not that I was expecting anything because it's just whatever. But there's a clear and present danger. So obviously, yeah, I don't know if you've seen that picture of me with Clancy. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, Tom Clancy. So I've got a picture with him. He's got his big old binoculars on. He's like, hey, and we were at. He was one of the owners of Orioles. Is that right? Yeah.
I don't know about baseball. I think the Vikings and football.
Okay.
But
So
yeah.
Orioles in baseball. That's the first baseball game I've seen from the owner's box, right? And he invited a bunch of SEALs out through a connection through Dwayne Dieter. Out there in Maryland, and we went and checked it out, and that's the way to watch a game, man. You're sitting there just mashing food and whatever, it's all catered, all that stuff. Had him sign a book and all that, and met him and talked to him a little bit. So it's kind of cool.
That's really
cool. But the clear and present danger, was it that one or was it Patriot Games? I forget, but I had him sign one for my dad, and that's a real term. So there's a clear and present danger to this nation, and I can't think of a bigger one than that.
Yeah.
Than without our future, which is our children, like. We don't have a future without kids, right? So they are the ones, so that makes sense to head that direction. It's more of an old school, long term. There's a saying over in the Middle East is the Americans have all the watches, but we have all the time. It's like, ooh, they just think in generations,
yeah.
right? So that tact is coming over here and saying attack the children, attack the children, attack the children, and that's exactly what's playing out. Here's the problem, we're letting it.
Yeah.
So we're letting it. And I do believe it's because of all the fake sheepdogs that are out there shaking their fist at the horizon saying, if you ever come for them, I'll die for them. It's like, hey, Grandpa, they're already in their bedrooms. Yeah. They're already raping your grandkids, and you're letting them, tough guy, because this was never real in the first place, right? So this isn't going to be with ARs. It's going to be with that, those spiritually and mentally, they've already infiltrated. Yeah. Why would you bother with the physical? But once that happens, it becomes a physical attack on their person. Oh, man, this is just straight up evil. There was many people testifying about protecting trans people and saving trans people and passing laws like this ridiculous one to protect trans people. And I remember somebody telling me this a long time ago, and he's a funny guy that I respect, and I've worked with him in the agency, and he was talking about, at that point, gay laws. There should be gay laws. And he goes, for what? It's like, so you can't hit a gay person with a stick? You can't hit anybody with a stick. Like, these laws apply to you, so you can't go beat you up. You can't do this. But I want a law saying you can't say, not you can't say, you must say. And Jordan Peterson has actually became world renowned, famous, and a household name because of exactly what he was saying about not only do you restrict what I'm saying, like that's illegal. You don't form legislation to say what I can't say. Now you're forming a legislation to say what I must say. You're saying, I must say this, like, are you high? That's not even a thing. No. So Colorado, like the California version of Colorado, we're heading in a place that's unprecedented where now you're going to go and make taxpayer dollars pay to murder babies, and you're going to try to fine people for calling their child the name they gave them. Like somehow, because he's 10, now he has the authority to change his name. Because I funded him, that you probably heard that, we keep sending our kids off to public school. You send your kids off to Caesar and you're surprised when they come back Romans.
Yeah.
Like this is just, it's a broken thing to where now we're looking at universities. I don't even want my daughter going to university. Looking at universities, we're looking at schools and all this stuff, and this has been happening. Trying to find a lot of masculine men. Now there are, because I know some. But not a lot that are raising our kids, like especially in public school. When you go in there, you're seeing kind of broken men that'll take a pension and do the thing and just promote the lie and all that stuff. And if my son became like them, it would be heartbreaking. Now, he doesn't go to that school, right? He doesn't go to a public school. It's a charter school, but they have held back that tide, and I'm proud of them for doing that, because they just get it all day, every day, and they're like, bring it. On this hill we'll die, and I appreciate them. But that's the exception to the rule. It's definitely not the rule. So so on this protection, they're talking about protection. I've been around a bit, and I've never seen anyone attack a trans person, ever. I've seen so many trans people lose their mind and attack people for standing there, right? For just being Christian, for just being present, for just showing up when not having rainbow hair, right? But somehow they need to be protected.
Or for being invited.
Or for being invited. Like, I invited you, you came, and now I'm actually, and this is, I can't wait till this plays out. And if you're upset about the Parker, Colorado thing, I don't really care, right? Because what happened is that they said, come as you are, invite everybody, buy a ticket for $1. But when Christians showed up to the event at a public park that they were invited to just for standing there, they were arrested. And they were trespassed, and they got summons. The police officer wasn't even going to do it. In the command structure, they realized, hey, this is an attack on the protected class, right? The purple hair people, right? It's like, we must do this. So they ordered the officer to go write him an actual summons. So now he's got to show up and pay a thing and all this other stuff and go to court. And a miracle happened on Good Friday, and they were said not guilty. Across the board, the jury said not guilty. So a precedent's been set, and I hope there's lawsuits, and I hope people pay a bunch of money, and I hope, because if this had been a black man for being black, everybody would have encouraged them to stand. Some things you just don't do. You stand there and we'll support you. So when that happened to Christian men, and the jury said not guilty, it was a big deal. And I don't know where it's going to go, but these fights are coming. Like on a daily basis, they're coming. And
on every front.
And they must happen. And I heard King Graves today, and do you know who that is?
No.
Oh, I got to introduce you to this. Nick Higgins is in Maine, and he's working to get us connected, to sit down face to face. They call him the Viking pastor. Like if he was sitting here, you'd be like, what is happening right now? Did I just go back in time? Somebody said he's like a Viking Sean Connery. His voice, it's just, the dude's just this powerful presence. And I was just listening to a podcast today, and it was really, really good. Nick sent that. Thanks, brother. Appreciate that, Nick. And I'm like, I got to meet this guy. I got to sit down and have a conversation with him, because he's just this awesome kind of man's man. And it would be an amazing.
Now I got the Sean Connery Hunt for Red October.
Oh yeah.
Most the things in this room don't react well to bullets.
Oh,
You're in a nuclear sub.
Yeah, I didn't even know what I was talking about. Now I'm off track. But
The Viking guy.
yeah. So I was listening to that. It's something he said. I just gone forever.
It'll come back. It'll come back.
So anyways, I'll just segue to my next thing. You heard me say this. Just because you're scared, it doesn't make me scary.
Yeah.
Right? They're so terrified. So obviously you must be the scary guy. So if somebody comes up and says you're scaring me, like I remember our guys were reporting this. They're shaking their kids, and they were saying like, "Isn't he scary? Like he's scaring you!" And the kids start crying. Because they're like, I'm not sure what to do here. And then like, you made my kid cry. It is just it's a very bizarre created reality, their own created reality.
I think he rattled his brain and dislocated his neck.
Yes, and it was, and you see it and like, oh my goodness, what is happening right now? And it's just, it's an insane thing to witness. But just because you're scared doesn't mean I'm scary. And I would encourage all parents here to raise stronger children. You can't do that with lies. You can't keep lying and hoping it's going to keep building, because it's going to fall over, right? And they deserve better. They deserve they're so scared of everything, therefore they start labeling things as scary. And in truth, it's like, the truth will set you free from all this, but I don't want to hear the truth. Roger that. Yeah. Okay. I don't even know what to say about that.
Best of luck.
Yep. All right. So a couple more points. Getting political. I've heard this again this week. I'm not getting political here, and this is coming from like the pulpit or some kind of speaking engagement from some pastor trying to cover his tail, right? And it's, well, this isn't political, it's biblical. I don't want to get, this is political, whatever. Political means policies that govern our lives, right? And I've just jokingly said, because I'm probably not going to do this, is that if I hear another pastor say that, I'm going to steal his Bible. I'm like, you don't even deserve to hold this, right? Because this is the policy that governs our lives. If you're a Christian, this is the Bible. So if you don't want to get political, just quit. Just go, I don't know, just go flip burgers or something. But I am seeing a stand that I'm proud of when we start seeing pastors come out of the church to start speaking the truth. And I heard something very interesting this week is that I won't comply. Like when this happens, this is not in line with the Bible. It's actually detrimental. It's going to harm people. We will not comply. So not being able to comply with something says that there may be some repercussions.
Yeah.
And that's fine, right? And it's absolutely correct, and bring it. So,
Well, and maybe repercussions could be discussions, conversations.
So it came back.
All right.
So he said during COVID, and this was ingenious, and I don't know why I didn't grab onto this before, but he had a buddy that was a sheriff, and he was saying like, hey, if you do this, that I might have to arrest you. And he said, fantastic, because that's the best way to get the truth out. This belongs in court, and the fastest way to do that is to arrest me. Yeah. And I was just like, man, that's ingenious. It's like, well, we can wait until there's all this fallout, and there's all these abused kids, and there's all these trafficked kids, and now you cut off your junk, and you regret it, but you'll never have kids, and blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't want to have kids. I want to take somebody else's kids and screw them up. It's like, what is happening, right? This doesn't make any sense. But when he said that, it was ingenious, because he even said, heard him right, is Andy told the guy, and thank you for doing that, and we're still good. Like, you and I are friends. Like, I didn't have anything against the fact that when we got confronted with the, the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff's Department at the Pride Fest where we stood and were persecuted, but stood for doing it, and we didn't cause a disruption. We stood there. We even talked to the security guys, stand over here, so we stood over there. We were given permission to stay and all that stuff. And those guys, I would not have had any hard feelings at all if they said, okay, Jimmy, we're going to have to arrest you as long as I was breaking the law.
Yeah.
That's the line.
But right? I wasn't breaking the law.
But we weren't breaking the law. So then they just said, we're good. Let's hit the reset button because you're not breaking the law. So we asked them. They said this. You said this. Keep chilling. Then we left when we were ready to leave, right? So that's the way it should be. It's like, if I'm breaking the law, you should arrest me, right?
Absolutely.
I would actually expect it. So, and I say that, but depending on the law. So if you're a Christian dude and they wrote something on paper that absolutely contradicts God's law, and you didn't, well, that would be your choice, right? And that actually happened during COVID. My daughter got trespassed for not playing volleyball with a mask on.
Yeah.
And the officers, I understand it, came over and was like, they're like, she's trespassing, get her out. He's like, I ain't touching this with a 10-foot pole. And he walked away. And I appreciate that too, right? But the way to fast track this to court is you're under arrest. Roger that. So we get it in court today, not wait until children are damaged and then get into court. Let's talk about this right now. And that was ingenious because it just shined a different light on that. And he told this story. I tried looking it up. I'm going to get some more information from him because I'm going to have to borrow this if this comes around again. Is that he was talking about, I think it was a pastor in Texas, which of course, not only will I not shut my doors again, why do we even have doors? And he tied off like a lasso and lashed it on his horse and ripped the doors off the church and burned them.
Okay.
It's awesome, right? That's awesome. Like, is it true? I don't even know. I was trying to find it, but I'm going to look into that and find out. Because make no mistake, that was a practice run. This is coming again, right? So that was just a bold move, and I love it. The last thing that came to me on that was a women and children first. And as you know, the Titanic sinking, women and children first. What did it mean?
They are precious. Get them off safely and first so they can survive.
Right.
Sacrifice your life for their survival.
Right. And what I've seen in many quote unquote men today is if there's an attack, just take the women and children first. Don't hurt me. It's the exact opposite. Like, take the women and children first.
That just hurts to hear.
It hurts to say. Like, it's absolutely just gutless, ballless, like whatever. But I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
And it's pathetic. Like this whole, I've seen men kind of, spoon-chested men, try to bow up because to look like they're protecting something while they're attacking it, right? So even women, like to try to attack the beauty of women and children in that perfect design and say God messed up, so let me fix it with my scalpel, or let me, like that. It's just, it is an attack on women and children. And if you cannot stand to protect women and children, you won't stand for anything.
No.
That's just, there's nothing worth more than our women and children. And that's what that, hey, I will sacrifice. It's like I'm a man, and if I have to drown in this water, they deserve to live, right? So just that's such a noble thing. And now to have this, again, sacrifice my women and children's future for my right now. And you're seeing it play out over and again, chasing this thing, more money, more this, more that, more feel good right now. Cares that they have to deal with the shame that I created? Who cares about that stuff? I'm talking about me, and this feels good, right? And that's what's happening right now. So anyways, to not even put a bow on this, because we're just going to shift gears just a little bit, is so I'm running out of there last night, and it's 11:30ish, and Pastor Matt's there, and I'm chatting with him a little bit, and we're kind of looking and talking, and hey man, appreciate you, thank you for standing, thank you too. And it's raining. He's like, well, I better get after it because it's not going to get any drier. And he just takes off for his car, and I take off for my truck. So I bang a right, and I'm running across the east lawn, and I just feel good, and knowing that this thing's probably going a different way, but holding out and praying, and I feel good because I know that though I'm going to get to bed at 12:30, I get to wake up at 6 something. And then go run chapel, right? And what a great way. And as I'm thinking about this, I'm like, what am I going to say to them? Usually I just pray about it, and I just go. And I was going to bust back out some notes that I had taken on reminding. It's such an honor after what I just saw in this state capitol of all these lost people that don't know the truth. So I'm going to share the truth about who they are according to God. And just, it's been an honor. There's only one more. You believe that? There's only one more to the end of the school year, and then they've got like a field day for the next Thursday or something. Jeez. But the message was this, and I get to talk to them and tell them about who you are according to the Bible, along with the specific verses. And we just touched on them a little deeper. I don't have much time with them, but they do an amazing, so Manny and Hazel do an amazing worship session. And he plays, the box thing, the drum deal, and she's got just an absolutely beautiful voice, and she plays the guitar. And I just, when you're a kid, you don't appreciate that, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, what an amazing, this is exactly the opposite of what I just saw. Yeah. Like last night, the exact opposite was what I saw on Thursday morning at Summit Christian Academy.
That's how you get to start your day.
That is how you must do this. You must. Like if these kids don't know these truths, then the truth can't set them free. Which means
no mistake, the light's coming up.
Yes.
While all that's happening.
Yes. And now it took a while to get here, but as I scan the room, it's all eye contact. And again, my man Luke, man, he's in the back, and I'm just like, I do the what are you thankful for? And as he spouts it off, I'm thankful for this, and you. And I'm like, thanks, buddy. Thank you. I so needed to hear that today. You are created in God's image, Genesis 1:27. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. He didn't mess that up. Mm-hmm. Male and female. Oh, God messed up, and I was misgendered. Stop.
That's almost the first page of the Bible.
Yeah, right? Right.
You
it's like
there's gone to page 2.
There's a lot laid out in Genesis 1, right? You are loved by God. Like these people do not know nor believe that they are loved by anybody. Like, right? So I'll just take whatever you'll give me. I don't care if it's abuse. I don't care if it's this. I don't care if you use me. Just call it love. And it's just not good. By the way, love is synonymous with sex. And it's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. No. Right? It's like, okay, just use me for whatever. Just call it love. It's like, man, that's such a lie. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. You're a child of God. 1 John 3:1. See what great love the Father has lavished on us that we should be called children of God. And that is what we are. I was like, do you guys understand what that just said? It means you're royalty. And they're like, what? Not Disney movie royalty. You're royalty. You're sons and daughters of the creator of the universe. So again, you've felt like a pawn your whole life. The day you realize that you're royalty, that you're kings and queens, everything has to change. You think of that movie where you got like that knucklehead communist son, or the other movies where you got this prince that comes in and his father has loved him and poured into him, and he's going to come make it right. Well, he's royalty. And it's like, I'm my father's son. I'm going to make this right. That's a big deal if you believe it. Yeah. If you believe it, right? That every one of us. If you are born again and you believe that you have been adopted into this, and it's not the old you, it's the new you, and that you are a son of God, act like it, right? You are forgiven. Ephesians 1:7, in him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins in accordance with the riches of God's grace. If you're forgiven, that means that rucksack in the book. I've been carrying a 100-pound rucksack of my past. It's like, man, why do my kids always look at dad and he seems tired? It looks like, I'd like to play with you, but I can't. I'd like to work on this thing with Rachel, but I can't. Why? Because your past is holding you back. He gives us enough for today, not for yesterday, and not for the what ifs of the future. Today, right? So you're forgiven. Forgive yourself. You're a new creation. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone. The new is here. Stop with the old. And this is hitting close to home because men and women, but a lot of women carry the sins of their past forever into their new relationships. Men too, into our new relationships, right? So you're not even dealing with your own stuff. You're not even with her own stuff. You're dealing with all those dudes' stuff. But here's the deal. She's worth it. Yep. I'll pay in full for all of it. And so will she, by the way. Hey, he's worth it. I know there was stuff from his mom. I know there were ex-girlfriends. I know this. I know there's stuff from her dad. I know there were ex-boyfriends. There's an ex-husband. I know whatever that is, I'll take it. Why? She's worth it, right? But got to make it out the other side of the fire, right? And then you're like, okay, it's worth it. You're God's workmanship, and this is great. Ephesians 2:10, for we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared for us in advance. So not only are you God's workmanship, you're created in Christ Jesus to do good works. That doesn't mean only on Sunday, right? Well, I go to church on Sunday, right? That's the top off. But you're supposed to be doing His works from Monday through Saturday. And you're treating it like it's a rock concert. Like, entertain me, Pastor. Cool, see you next Sunday. It's like, no, brother. This is just reminding you of what you're supposed to be doing to top you off and to refocus you and then get back after it. Yeah. Like the thing we do. Who here's in full-time ministry? And I better see every hand in the air, right? Get your hands up, right? You are a temple of the Holy Spirit. 1 Corinthians 6:19. Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? If your body is God's temple, it doesn't belong to you, take care of it, right? Eat right and exercise. Like that's the deal. You're chosen, and even if you believe that, and it's unfortunate, not picking on them, but a lot of these people, they're not just specimens of health. No. Not even close. It's not healthy mentally or physically or spiritually, and it's just incredibly obvious. But they're so starved for anything, they're like, I can't get any of that, so you know how I'll get my attention? I'll just put on a show. Like, okay, let's just
graffiti.
Right, you're chosen and dearly loved. Colossians 3:12. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. And I was feeling a lot of that yesterday, and I couldn't really explain it because usually I'm mad, right? And then you ask yourself, well, why are you mad? And then all of a sudden you start sounding silly, right? So it wasn't that. It was just I was just observing and processing last night, right? And preparing to speak if I was chosen. And a lot of that was going to be in prayer, but it just wasn't in the cards. But I'm proud of those that did. But I recall the story about a woman that I respect here locally in the area, and she called to meet with me. And I was doing security thing at a school, and she met me at the school. I know exactly where we were sitting, right in front of my kid's school. And then she just looked at me and she said, "Do you know that you're chosen?" And what came out of my mouth surprised me because I've never said this, I never thought it. I feel chosen. And then I got a little emotional about it. I'm like, did you just say that? Like, and it almost felt like self-righteous, but it just felt right. Yeah. And I was like, I feel chosen. Like, I truly feel like God's using me for something that I don't understand. Mm-hmm. He's chosen me to be His hands and feet and His voice here on earth. Not that He needs me, but He chose me because He loved me. And I'm digging it, right? And if they believe that they are chosen and dearly loved, then they wouldn't be searching for somebody else's love. And I've heard this recently from God. Am I not enough for you? You know, in those times when I'm like lusting or I'm needing this or I'm needing that, I'm like, I'm going to die, then die quietly. You know, the stuff we've talked to from my brother Bob. He's so awesome. He's the first one that said that to me. And he's like, he'd heard it. I've prayed and heard that back from God. It's like, am I not enough for you? Like, what do you mean you need this and you need that? Am I not enough? And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, well then, okay. Then if you're calling me to do that, then I'm going to need you to take this from me. And then He does. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whoa. Like for the first time in my life, it's like, whoa, this is something, right? You're more than a conqueror. Romans 8:37. No, in all these things, we are more than conquerors through Him who loved us. And not just out conquering and taking land that's already God's. It's like, oh, it's mine anyways. So you're more than conquerors. You're not just going out and conquering. You're way more than that. You're my kids. And last one, You're an heir of God. Romans 8:17. Now if we are children, then we are heirs, heirs of God and co-heirs with Christ. If indeed we share in his sufferings in order that we may also share in his glory. And then I get to talk to them about glory and how glory is not for us. So you get to touch it, but the second you touch it, you hand it to God. Glory will devour you. Yeah. So there's been men, women, children that clung to glory. It devoured them and there's nothing left, right? Here's the cool part. When you hand glory to God, immediately honor sticks to you, because honor is for us. And when you honor someone, twice that comes back on you. And that gets addictive. Yeah. So you honor and you honor and you honor, and it's glorifying to God, and he says, that's my guy. So that's very, very cool. Okay, so why do you read that stuff? So you told a bunch of kids that, right? Because the more that I do this stuff, I realize that the same thing they need, we need. Like 50-plus-year-old dudes need the exact same thing, because if they truly believed that they were all of those things, that they were children of God, that they were temples, that they were his chosen sons and daughters, and that we were kings, we're not pawns, then all of a sudden it puts that choice back into your hands. You're like, you know what? I'm doing this. What I say to my kid is, you're my guy. I just grab him. Hey, you know you're my guy. You're my son. You know that, right? It's like, yeah, you tell me every day. I know, but I need to say it and you need to hear it. You're my son. Yeah. My daughters. You know you're my daughter. Yeah, of course I know. You're my daughter, right? Mm-hmm. And I love saying it. They love hearing it. Big old smile from ear to ear. But now when we take that to, I tell them, I'm your guy. This is the terminology I use now. I'm your guy. I'm his guy, and his guy doesn't do that. His guy doesn't do that. His guy doesn't get drunk. Kids will never see me drunk. I don't get drunk, right? Yeah. It's the thing that he's kind of taken away from me. I don't do this. I don't do that. I don't do this. I don't do that. Why? Because I'm his guy, and I'm aspiring to be better because I believe these things. Again, not perfectly, but increasingly, right? So that's insane. All right, brother. Say some cool stuff to wrap us up.
I've got three things.
Yeah, please.
One of them, I need to do homework and figure out, I feel like there's something in the Bible that says he will never give you more than you can handle. Mm-hmm. So realize the depth of your strength. You are going to be, I think the word you used earlier was persecuted. You are going to have to fight. And these are real fights. Picture swords and cuts and punctures. It's going to hurt, but he'll never give you more than you can handle. Thoughts and prayers and all good things going out to Perry, just to heal and recover and get back in here where he belongs.
Yeah.
And somebody very special to us, the Sage. It's his birthday within minutes. So happy birthday to the Sage.
Yeah, brother. Do you know that he just won a competition out there in a new league? And oh man, I asked him for some pictures and all that kind of stuff. No, it's like he came in and, you know, it's down in Louisiana and they made this thing, whatever. They started a league. They saw him shooting and they started asking, and I think the son of the owner started this league. And you know, he's an amazing shot. He's an able shepherd and all that, but he enjoys still doing that. So I guess you get to pick which speed, accuracy, all that. So you picked a couple. And I guess he just went in and owned it. And I mean, he needed a little thing, and he just got it. He's like, all right, boys, that's how you do that, you know. I love it. So I want to see pictures and all that. Yep. All right, so I just want to finish with something I already said. The world's getting worse. We are mass producing crazy. Mm-hmm. It is our duty to be better. Yeah. And to know what better means. Like, what is the definition of better? And I would say that'd be, you know, stronger. That'd be, what is a strong man, what is a good man, what is a man? And then the same thing with women is that something that's sustainable, something that's built on a solid foundation, but then also something we're building. So if you're just mediocre, then the numbers stay way off. So we have to be far better, meaning myself, my home, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. That means my children need to be that much better. Yeah. So I love the fact that we are, you know, you're always called to take care of the underprivileged and all of that, and there's honor in all of that. But who is going to be training up the leaders of tomorrow? Why not us? Yep. Right? So we've got the Forging the Future program that's just launched. That just feels good all day long because it's the exact opposite. It's pouring into a young man as this is the pilot program, and pouring into them through Able Nation, to where we are going to be honoring them and lifting them up and giving them confidence and making them capable and all these things in front of his family, okay? And then individually within our homes, and just making sure that our kids know the truth so the truth can keep them free because they deserve it. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, guys, it's a wrap for this one. we got something out of it. I know we did. Even in the couple hours conversation we had before we hit record, we should have just recorded all that too. But until we see it again, God bless each and every one of you. Take care of one another. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us again for another episode. Please be sure to follow us and support us on all of the social media. That's Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. All of that starts by visiting ableshepherd.com.